progress always beats perfection. And so for me, that's the most important thing, that if I set on my to-do list, I'm going to publish the podcast today, I'm publishing it. And maybe that's why my podcast is ranked top 1% globally, because on the dot, every Friday, every other Friday, I publish, and my audience seems to enjoy it. It's highly ranked, it's valuable, but at the same time, there were many moments when I thought I'm not ready, but you just have to do it. You have to keep showing up.
Welcome back to Rise and Tell with Sheekha. I am Sheekha Singh, your host and author. I have got something special to share. My brand new book, Unburnable Ambition, How Overachievers Win Without Burning Out. This book is for all of us who dream big but refuse to let burnout be the price. Head to sheekhaSingh.com/unburnableambition and sign up today. Now let's dive into today's episode. And today I have a brilliant, amazing, and talented guest on the show. Our guest for today is Dr. Christiana Schroeter. She is a TEDx speaker, business and wellness coach, professor, and a best-selling author who helps entrepreneurs achieve big results through small and strategic actions. She has a PhD in health economics, and she's a professor of marketing, innovation, and entrepreneurship at a top-ranked US university, earning national and international recognition for her work. And she's also a podcast host. She's an author of 3 books, and her next book is coming up soon. So let's just get started. So there you go, everybody. Today we have with us Dr. Christiana Schroeter. Welcome to the show, Christiana. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. And hello, audience. I can't wait to share some amazing insights on this episode here today.
Awesome. I'm super excited too. So for all those who skipped the intro, I have to tell you guys, Christiana here is immensely talented. She's not just a TED speaker, but she's a best-selling author, podcast host, and also a coach. So Christiana, let's just dive right into this. Tell me, how did you go from creating your own framework to a podcast host and to a best-selling author?
Love it. And actually, we left out 2 small, maybe not even small, but one of my major roles in my life is I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. And that might even answer your question of how did I go from here to there, is that I thought a lot about my daughters and inspiring them becoming female entrepreneurs, really going after what feels good and what feels right and growing your business in a very organic way. So I didn't start it all at once. Right? It was kind of a step-by-step process, and actually have a trademark on this process. It's called Petite Practice. So it's petite French for small, and practice that you take small steps at a time. And that's really how I grew my business. And the second element is I'm actually a professor. So first, I'm a role model to my daughters. And second, I'm a role model to my students. So when I teach in the classroom and I teach marketing, innovation, entrepreneurship, I always want to be the professor that's doing what I tell them to do. So I speak, I coach, and most importantly, I also fail at doing some things. And then I share that with them because I want to normalize the fact that you can try some things and it doesn't work out so well. And I just tell them it's your first attempt in learning. That was your fail. So I wouldn't be able to do the podcasting, speaking, and writing if it wouldn't be for my why, that I really want to share my voice and inspire and empower others.
That is super inspiring, Christiana. I love how you put everything there together. And I'm intrigued to know, what fuels you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I call myself a business and wellness coach. Okay. And maybe it's this because it's alphabetic, and the B and the I just follow it in the alphabet like this. However, there are some days when it's wellness and business coach. So it fuels me that I take care of myself. It makes me a better mom, professor, author, and speaker because I know what I need and I take care of those needs. And then when those needs are met, I can show up for the world in a much better way, and also in a much stronger way, because I think that sometimes we associate doing everything all at once with burnout and with stretching yourself too thin. In
Yep.
my opinion, it's really just you need to listen to yourself and see what you need in this moment, in this season, in this particular stage, and then really just go step by step, as I mentioned, the petite practice.
Love it. Love it. And what an incredible point you brought up, Christiana. I love the fact, and especially I've seen that in a lot of women these days where everyone's trying to do so much. And not just women, I see a lot of men too. In that race of being better than who they were yesterday or better than someone else, everyone's just trying to do everything at once. Just right off the bat, there's like 10 things in the to-do list. So as a wellness coach, what are some of the top things that you recommend people do to avoid being in that situation where they're like, oh my God, I have so much to do. I don't even know where to start. I am done.
Love it. So let's maybe start with what you just brought up, that to-do list with the 10 items on there. My number one recommendation would be only write down 3 or 4. So don't get me wrong, I have to-do lists everywhere.
Yeah.
But what I really plan on the day of are 3 things. So I don't even start my day with this 25 long list of things, and then at the end of the day beat myself up for only doing, 3 or 4, because I mean, we are only human, right? So
Yeah.
I think about this as I set myself up for success when I plan my day. And also that ties in with my second biggest recommendation. You have to be really intentional. So when I coach, I'm not looking at my cell phone in between. I'm not answering emails. I'm not being like distracted with all different kind of things. I close the door to my office and create a physical boundary because I'm here with you. But secondly, I create another boundary, which is really I'm intently listening and I'm really fully immersing myself into my client, or when I teach in the classroom, into my students.
Yep.
And I think that is so important that you think about your day as these actions, and each action deserves you fully. And really look at this as like, all right, we have 3 things we want to do today. And then there are these varying appointments in between, but don't stretch yourself thin. There's no such thing as multitasking. Really think about if you do those 3 things at the end of the day, give yourself a high 5 for completing it. But you know that you gave your all to each of those elements. And that is so important because you want to show up fully and not feeling completely scattered, right?
I love it. Yes. Oh my God. I agree 100%. And I have noticed this. There have been studies on this already, as you know, because this generation is so much into phones and devices these days that their attention span has decreased. It's even more lesser than 7 seconds now. And I agree, Christian. I love your suggestion about being present and just giving your 100% in that one thing that you're doing from that list. And I feel like a lot of people lack that today. I hate it when I'm on a call, everyone's there, even if it's especially a remote setup. You have to be there because you're not in a room. There's, you have to pay attention. And then when you point somebody out or you call someone out, they're like, I'm sorry, I was multitasking. I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that question again? I'm like, what were you doing? This is just a 30-minute call. And I get that. Yes, I agree. As adults, we have a lot of things on our plate, but just being present, fully intentional on one thing, it just creates a whole lot of difference. And I feel like in today's world where everyone's just scrolling up, scrolling down, left, right, I feel like when you see a person in front of you or in a meeting or in a group or at an event, when someone's just paying attention to what you're saying, that boosts your confidence too. And it shows that the other person is a great listener. And I really value one of those traits in people. How good are you at listening? And not just to me, but anybody. Because there's so many, like you build stronger relationships when you're a good listener. And that I agree to your point 100%, Christian. I love it. I love how you've tied all these elements. And I love that you brought up the most important thing is that you're a mom of 2 kids and how important it is for you. So I want to know, Christian, as a mom, as a professor, you have a PhD and you're doing everything that one, like moms these days, dream of doing, right? How did you manage your personal life, your professional life, and how do you do it now? Like, how do you balance everything now?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. And I want to add on to your previous point of multitasking. When I gave my TEDx talk, they asked me, do you have slides? Do you want to
Right.
use a monitor that shows your talking points? I was very intentional and I said, absolutely no electronics, no
Wow.
slides, no talking points. I'm going to memorize everything and it's going to come from my brain. Now, think
Love.
about this, right? This is a huge commitment. You're getting on a stage, they're expecting that there's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, that not having anything in place, that is quite a risk. And I took
Yeah.
it. And I got on stage and I
Wow.
spoke and it was beautiful. But at the end of the day, what they did after the rehearsal, they saw it. They said, we want that you are the first speaker on the event. You're going to open this because we
Oh,
know that you're bringing the energy and the confidence that we need for this particular day today, the TEDx talk. And so I did. I got up, I was the
wow.
first speaker. I gave my talk and I would love for you to, of course, to check it out. It's about Petite Practice. It's about my journey through discovering how my students struggled and how they basically overcame that particular struggle. My secret step plan that helped them to transform into confident leaders. And I think that really had a lot of value in preaching. It's not always about doing a lot of things at the same time. Now,
Right.
coming to your question with regard to, being a mom and showing up and how I tie all this together, I am definitely an action taker. So for me, I rather show up sometimes messy in the moment, so to
Yeah.
speak, than feeling I didn't show up at all because I wanted to wait for the moment of perfection. So when I wrote down on my to-do list the 3 things, and let's say it's a Friday, and every other Friday I publish my podcast episode. And I dedicate my time on Friday for the podcast episode publishing. Sometimes I feel, is this really the best episode? But I know my audience is waiting. I have to
Yes.
push publish. No matter what, I could sit there and dwell all weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I would take time away from my family, but you just have to let it go because progress always beats perfection. And so for me, that's the most important thing, that if I set on my to-do list, I'm going to publish the podcast today, I'm publishing it. And maybe that's why my podcast is ranked top 1% globally, because on the dot, every Friday, every other Friday, I push
Wow.
publish, and my audience seems to enjoy it. It's highly
Love.
ranked, it's valuable, but at the same time, there were many moments when I thought I'm not ready, but you just have to do it. You have to keep showing up. And there are so many times in your life when it is just that same situation, when you're feeling you're walking into a meeting or you're coming out of a client meeting and you're like, oh gosh, I should have maybe prepared more or something. You can be honest about it too,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're still showing up, and just make sure you're showing up fully. That's the best thing.
Oh my God. This is like, this hits right there at the spot. Thank you, Christiana. I think everybody needed to listen this. This is awesome. Progress beats perfection. I 1000% agree on that statement right there. I feel like consistency is what makes you successful. Yes, talent also plays a role in it, but if you're stuck on being perfect, there is no progress. You're not going anywhere. And you are an author of multiple books, and you know that. You know, in the writing industry, everybody says your rough draft is going to be a mess, but just get everything out. Don't worry about editing it. And I've seen that. Like, that's a very valid example that I've experienced where I'm like, oh no, this is not working the way way I thought in my head. I think I need to go back, change it. But no, every time I'm reminded of the fact that yes, just needs progress, doesn't have to be perfect. That's when I'm like, oh wow, I finished writing a manuscript in like a weekend or 2 weeks and it's done. Love it. Love it. This is awesome. I'm enjoying so much, Christiana. Your tips and suggestions are so actionable. And like you said, you are a person who does things and who takes action. So tell me, when you have failures or when you see people, because you're also a business and a wellness coach, obviously people come to you because they have a problem or they're struggling with something. What's the first thing that you do right off the bat? Like, if, let's say, there's a constant, disappointment where let's say I'm your client and I come to you with a problem and I'm not ready to change anything, and you are seeing me, so I'm being a difficult client right now. So how would you handle me?
Oh, beautiful question. So if you are not ready to change, I hate to say it's difficult for me to say, it has to come from you deep
Yes.
inside, right? So the drive to change is in your control. And I could coach all day long. I could send you the best motivational quotes. I could be the most inspiring cheerleader in our meetings. If you're not ready to change, it's not going to happen, right? I think that it's sometimes like the famous, like it's a puzzle and you're trying to fit in a shape in like a little piece into something that's not the same shape. You have to figure out, okay, what shape do I really want to be to fit in there, to be that puzzle piece of like, I feel I'm aligned, I'm ready to move forward. And if you personally don't feel that, sometimes it just takes a moment and sit down and really figure out, who are you and where do you really want to go? And if it doesn't feel like what you're currently doing aligns with who are you and what your values are, maybe then it's time to kind of regroup a little bit. But I think the drive has to come from the client. I help clients figure out what their values are, but at the end of the day, they want to figure it out, right? So
Yeah.
to help them and get them into starting mode, that's difficult. And I have a master's degree in foods and nutrition. And just to give you the simplest example, right? You could say all day long, I want to get in shape, I want to eat healthier. But if you deep down know already now that you despise healthy food and you despise working out, I can just say that maybe that's just not actually all that important to you. Because my question always is, why do you want to do that? Is it really something that deep down you are that person? Because if you don't feel that you are not that person, then don't make it uncomfortable. Like, really figure out if it's something that's truly important for you, yourself, and your values, you will figure out how to do it. But if you're not even sure why you're doing it, maybe you do it to please somebody else, it's not the right thing. Yeah.
Agreed. Love it. Yes, definitely. That's the answer always lies within you. That's what I believe. And you have to figure out for yourself what's your why behind doing certain things. Agreed. Christiana, I'm excited to know more about your book. So tell us all about Discover Your Superpower. And for those who are on audio, you're missing out because I can see Christiana's book in her bookshelf behind her. So that looks wonderful. Tell us more about your book.
Yeah, so because I've been teaching for over 20 years now, and another fun fact, I calculated out how many students' lives I touched, over 10,000. It's a big number, I know, but I just did it the other day for fun because it was like that Discover Your Superpower book really came from my experience inside the classroom, outside of the classroom, speaking on stages, at conferences, interacting with clients one-on-one, that many times we don't even ask that question ourselves. Like, what am I really good at? When I'm not in the room, what do people say about me? If I could choose just the one thing in my life that I would like to be remembered by, my legacy, what would that be? We don't think about that. We just move on. We do like the piddly paddly things every day. And that's kind of like the rat in the hamster wheel kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be that. You want to actually tackle deep down what your, let's just call it, bucket list is. Because as soon as you do that, you're going to be really seeing a transformation in how you show up, what you do, because you're balancing your day-to-day work life with something that you always dreamed of doing. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're like always dreamed like traveling the world or something like that, I mean, even that's a great item, but I'm sure you always dreamed of doing something in particular. And let's just say maybe it is traveling the world, who knows what. How in your life are you showing up for that dream right now? And if you're If your answer is really not, then we have to figure out what that is, because you don't want to wait until retirement or some arbitrary date to actually think, how am I going to make this happen?
Yes.
You need to start thinking about this now, because that passion will fuel your day-to-day activities, and you never know what will come out of it. And I think that is so important in your life, that you are really aligning yourself with what you want to do, who you are, showing up fully for yourself. It ties in again with that wellness piece, but it
Yes.
might also transform your business, because if you're really passionate about, let's say, global cultures, maybe there's something you could share with the world that you haven't done so far. And maybe there is something there that would be, writing a book, launching a podcast, anything that you could do with regard to that passion that would bring you just a little closer to that global travel around the world. And I think that
Right.
is something I see a lot of my clients. When I ask them, they're sometimes totally stunned, like, I don't know what my superpower is. But then I talk to them about it and they will
Right.
figure it out. The transformation is always amazing.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Okay. Amazing. Congratulations on your book, Christiana. Love it. I have to go pick it up now. Yeah, definitely. I want to know, so as a business and a wellness coach, you talk about, and we've touched on this a little bit about progress over perfection. But tell us, how can these small, consistent changes, how do these tie to your petite framework, that
Mhm.
petite practice framework
Mhm.
that you have, and how is it going to help us get the results that we desire over time?
Fantastic question. So all of my books have the Petite Practice Planner,
Yeah.
Discover Your Superpower, and How to Master Your Goals. I've broken down into the Petite Practice framework. So it's small, consistent steps. In this case, it is worksheets that you can use to move the needle in your business, in your life, in your wellness, for yourself, just to show up more fully with who are you really meant to be. And that means when you, for instance, build a business while you're working full time, and so
Right.
it's like your side gig, so to speak. I build my coaching with a petite practice orientation. So you could even do 15 minutes per day on a consistent basis, maybe 3 times per week, 15 minutes per day. And you would still see at the end of the month that you accomplished a lot. So it's not always like I have to dedicate a whole day to this to get my work done. It's not always that. It's really just showing up consistently, small amounts of time, and being very structured in the way that you report it, and also how you set your goals yourself, like the 3 goals I talked about.
Nice.
So I think, like coming back to the books, if you open sometimes the, random workbooks and you're like, oh my gosh, like this seems like all overwhelming. The fun thing about the workbooks, and that's why I mentioned it's like on those days when you maybe feel your wellness is even more important than your business, is that I even have puzzles in there, word searches. I have some coloring pages, because sometimes my clients tell me I really struggle with staying focused. I have ADHD. I don't really know, like it seems like overwhelming. And then I tell them, well, today, why don't you follow this organization on this page? Do a puzzle in between to distract your mind. Or maybe there's a coloring page you could do. So it really aims at different learning styles, whether you are somebody that listens, somebody that writes, or somebody that needs more like a kinesthetic interaction, which is you're doing something so that you can achieve your goals. And I think that was the most important thing when I wrote my books, that I really wanted to use the Petite Practice framework in all of them to get you to your finish line.
Wow. Wow. Lovely. Lovely. I am so impressed right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just that you have so many things in your bag,
Mhm.
and you've made sure that you've utilized all of your traits and then done something with it. So if you're good
Mhm.
at talking, you have your podcast,
Mhm.
your books, and then your framework, your coaching business. So it's just amazing to me. I want to know more about your health and wellness side of things, Christiana.
Good.
So I know you have a master's degree in it. You are a certified coach, and the book also revolves around some of those things. So when it comes to wellness in today's day and age, when most of us have a 9 to 5 job, kids, family, pets, responsibilities, so many other things, how important it is to make sure that you've incorporated wellness in some form or the other?
Beautiful question. So after I finished my master's degree and I moved on to my PhD, I knew that even though I was earning a PhD in applied economics, that I wouldn't let go of the whole wellness piece,
Wellness,
right?
yeah.
And so I've focused in my dissertation, in my PhD book, so to speak, on obesity. And I really looked at, if you want to, let's say there's an obesity crisis, how can you do this in a manageable way? And that was really how I kickstarted my Petite Practice. Because if you're changing somebody's life in a drastic way, it becomes very uncomfortable because it's something that's totally different from what you're used to.
Right.
So I established small changes. Let's say every day you drink a Coca-Cola, full sugared Coca-Cola can. And we're just cutting out that Coca-Cola every single day. So I created a model that I basically showed, if you do a Petite Practice, like deleting that Coca-Cola, that soft drink from your dietary intake, what would that translate in terms of the change in your body weight? And you could put any calorie amount in there and it would directly tie in with the percentage change in your body weight and also, of course, in kilograms, which is BMI is calculated in kilograms. Now, if you think about this, that's exactly what Petite Practice is. So to take care of your health and wellness, you don't have to make drastic changes. You could just do one small thing at a time. Go for that 15-minute walk. If you have a 9-to-5 job, you might not have time to go to a gym, but you probably own some type of sneakers. Going for a quick walk around the block after your dinner, if you do that, it's still better than not doing anything. So that is exactly what my dissertation focused on, because the body weight change at the end of that year by just cutting out that one soda was tremendous. And again, we didn't change our life. We just didn't drink that one soda per day. And you could even replace it with a non-sugar sweetened beverage, right? So here is really the thing. In your life, I never ask my clients to change their life drastically. I always say, I want that you feel comfortable with who you are. If you like who you are right now, let's just make small little changes and let's see where that gets us. And alone that will already create a lot of momentum. So I always say it's inspiring, engaging, and action oriented. I want to inspire you, but I also want to engage you and what your goals are. And at the same time, we're going to take action together.
Wow. Incredible. And that's just so easy, right? Because people end up getting on a lot of different diets and it's not sustainable over time. But just cutting out one simple thing and following that, just a small change will get you results. That's lovely. I love it. I love all the suggestions that you gave on our podcast, Christiane. Before we end the show, is there anything that you would like to tell our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, I also want to emphasize it's not always even like the mindset of like, I'm cutting things out. Sometimes it's even like how you word things, right?
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I have to eat a salad right now, or I have to do this or that, just change the wording. Just say, I get to go on a walk with my husband right now. It's kind of cool. Or I get to pick up my kids from school and have a great conversation with them for my social wellness right here. Or I get to eat some apple because I have the opportunity to have fresh fruit in my house. So just look at it more as an opportunity to reward yourself for it instead of feeling like it's a punishment. And again, you don't always want to feel like you're cutting things out.
Right.
Rather look at it, what are we really gaining? Oh, I get to gain wellness by not drinking that sugar sweetened beverage. I get healthier. And so rather look at the benefit than that one soft drink that you just didn't have on that day.
Christiane, this was amazing. I know I learned a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure our audience has learned a lot of things too. I want to congratulate you for your books, your upcoming book too, and your business and everything that you do. Congratulations and all the very best. And thank you so much for taking out time from your schedule to be a guest on our show.
Thank you so much to the audience, and go to my TEDx talk Like it, comment it. I respond to every single comment. I feel it's important to build that connection. And I can't wait to share that message with you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't checked out my second book, Unburnable Ambition, go check it out. It is now on Amazon and all platforms. Let me know what you think of it and share it with someone who you think is going to benefit from it. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode of Rise and Tell with Sheekha. My book, Unburnable Ambition, is all about how to chase your biggest goals without losing yourself to burnout. You can now sign up at sheekasingh.com/unburnable ambition. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and be yourself, and keep your ambition unburnable. Thank you.